Very good evening to everyone. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to attend this sharing today on parenting mentally resilient children. Please share my screen. Right. So, what you will be learning today will be three A's. So, the first A will be awareness. So, having awareness of what stress is, okay, and how is resilience and stress related. And then the second A would be you will be learning how to analyze and to determine the source of stress. Where is that stress coming from? And the third A would be to apply the healthy habits and strategies, the coping skills that I will be sharing with all of you that will help yourselves and also your children to promote wellness and build resilience in your. So for today's sharing, I will be using this interactive platform called Slido. All right, so I would like to get all of you to keep your mobile phones handy, to keep them with you as I bring you through today's sharing. So I would like to get all of you to take out your mobile phones now and scan the QR code that you see in front of you. Alternatively, you may open the internet browser on your phones and then go to slido.com and proceed to enter the code that you see on your screen. Okay, I'll just give everyone here a couple of minutes to do that. Okay, after you have opened the page, okay, please keep the page open because I will be actually interjecting the slides with some polls here and there to invite all of you to, share your thoughts. I'm going to move on next. Okay, so now the very first activity that I will be doing with all of you is a word cloud. So now I would like all of you to think about what comes to your mind whenever you hear or see the word resilience. Okay, what does it mean to you? In recent times, especially, we have been seeing, the word or hearing about the word resilience, all over the media, on the TV, in the news. You may hear it from, even from your children from school as well. Okay, but what exactly is resilience to you? What do you know about the word resilience? All right, so now I've activated the poll. I would like to invite all of you to just enter your responses. Okay, I see phrases like, the ability to overcome, bouncing back, hanging on, be strong, strength, persisting, endurance. Well, fall down seven, get up eight. Sorry, but what is the meaning of fall down seven, get up eight? Um, whoever is the person who shared this, if you don't mind, you can actually share in the Zoom chat. Share with me what is fall down seven, get up eight. I'm not quite sure what is that. Right, so I'll need some enlightenment from you. Okay, getting up after falling. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so all of you are absolutely right about resilience. So, resilience is actually the ability to bounce back from adversity. All right, it's the capability to be able to actually cope. Okay, when we are under stress. Okay, and or after going through a very stressful situation, or after going through a crisis, we are able to actually recover and then come back. All right. So now exactly what is stress? Okay. In order to know what exactly is resilience, we need to know what stress is. So a very simple definition of stress is that stress is our body's response to pressure from a situation or life event. So stress is a human reaction that happens to all of us. All right. So there comes the next poll. Okay, having said that, right? So do you think that stress is the bad thing? So I would like to invite all of you to participate in this poll. Let me know whether you think stress is a bad thing. Okay, yes, absolutely. So, um, okay, before I think all of you know that stress is not a bad thing, but actually, I would say the answer is yes and a no. Okay, so let's see when does stress actually becomes a bad thing. So, before we go into that, I would like to share the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So I believe most of you would have heard of the story, okay, as a young child. So Goldilocks was walking along in the forest and then she discovered a cottage, okay, with its door open. She went into the cottage and then she saw three bowls of porridge on the table. She tasted the first bowl of porridge. She found the first bowl of porridge to be too hot for her. Then she went on to taste the second bowl of porridge. She realized that the temperature of the second bowl was too cold for her. Then she went to taste the third bowl of porridge. And the temperature of that third bowl of porridge was just nice for her. So she proceeded to finish that whole bowl of porridge. After filling her tummy, Goldilocks then went upstairs and then she saw three beds inside a bedroom. She lied down on the first bed. The first bed was too hard for her. So she went to the second bed. The second bed was too soft for her. And then she went to the third bed. It was not too hard, not too soft. It was just nice for her. And she fell asleep. Right. So I would like to draw parallels of the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears with the concept of stress. So stress levels, all right, cannot be too high, all right, because if it's too high, we will be overwhelmed. Okay, and then too much stress without periods of relief or relaxation, all right, can lead us to develop mental health conditions, all right. When we have too little stress, however, we will be unmotivated and we will not be able to achieve the goals that we set for ourselves. So therefore, stress levels have to be just nice, okay, in order to motivate us, okay. So just imagine, your children, needing to sit for examination. So you will realize that, you might be asking yourself, what is it exactly that is pushing them, okay, to sit for the exam? And just before exam, they may be, revising their work, okay, they perhaps be spending a lot of time on their schoolwork. So these are actually stress that is pushing them, to actually study for the exam and to sit for the exams. So once the exams is over, then you can see that, a weight seems to be lifted off their shoulders, right? So that is when there is, a relief. There's relief, what we call relief from the stress. However, just imagine when the stress of exams become prolonged. Okay, so an example here. So imagine your child has exams or tests every week. So having to sit for exam or test every week throughout the whole year means that your child will be experiencing stress without any periods of relaxation or with any relief. All right. So what I want to say is that stress is a normal human reaction, okay, that happens to all of us. So in fact, our human body is designed to experience stress and react to them. So whenever we experience changes or challenges, our body will produce physical and mental responses to them, and that is known as stress. So, as I mentioned earlier, stress responses help us to adjust to new situations, right? So, it can be positive, all right? It keeps us alert, motivated, and motivated so that we are able, so our children can sit for the exams, they go to school, or if, for children who are going on to secondary school next year, all right, it helps them to adapt to new situations. Okay, so an example that I just mentioned earlier is an important test or exam, or even for adults, when they need to, give a presentation at work. So that stress response might help, you to work harder, okay, to stay alert so that you are able to perform your best for your presentation. Okay. However, do take note that stress becomes a problem when sources of stress continue without relief or periods of relaxation. So this would be the stress and distress continuum, which described what I just mentioned earlier. So as you can see over here, in the green portion, this is when there's too little stress, and then we are underloaded. So we remain unmotivated. So we may become sluggish. It doesn't help us to perform, at our jobs. So for example, pilots who is flying airplane, right, carrying hundreds of passengers. So the pilot is under a certain level of stress. So I would say the pilot will be under in the yellow zone, optimum stress, so that he's able to ensure that he takes off and lands the plane safely. Doctors and nurses working in the A&E environment, in A&E department of a hospital. So A&E department of hospital is very fast paced. Okay, they got to respond to emergencies all the time. So they need to remain in the optimal level of stress so they're able to perform their jobs. But what if, let's say, they become overworked? All right, too much stress, they become overloaded. So they will go into the amber zone here. So fatigue sets in, they become exhausted. Okay. If this continues, okay, if they don't receive help or they don't take steps to manage that stress, okay, eventually, they will burn out. And that is when they will experience extreme stress. So they will fall into the red zone where, they may experience anxiety, panic, anger, they may break down. So this is, what we call, and some of them may develop, okay, mental health conditions as a result. So over here, so positive stress, okay, is when we are in the yellow zone. All right. Tolerable stress, okay, and in the amber zone, it is still something that is tolerable still. Okay, but when it falls into the red zone, then stress actually becomes very harmful to our body, and that's when we will experience, not only a mental breakdown, but we may experience a breakdown in our physical health as well. Okay. So the causes of stress, okay, is known as stressors. Okay. So this occurs in two forms, external and internal. External stressors usually come from external factors, which are forces or situations that we can't easily control. For example, our physical environment, such as a hot weather, right? So if you notice when the weather gets really hot, some of us may become easily irritable. But the moment we cool down, that's when, okay, our stress level may regulate a little bit. Um, Bright lights, a noisy environment, or living in confined spaces can also lead to stress. Okay. Internal stressors refers to stress-inducing thoughts or behaviors that comes from our own personal mindset or expectations. For example, putting pressure on ourselves to be perfect, fear of public speaking. All right. In more serious cases, internal stressors may lead to feelings of anxiety and depression. Okay, now let's take a look at what are some of the examples of external stressors that may affect children. Okay, so we have things like school work demands and frustration. Okay. In my line of work, I do see a lot of children having behavioral issues, maybe around the age of 10, which is around primary four, more in P5, age of 11. So for a period of time, I was thinking, okay, why is this happening? I do see a pattern of parents seeking help from us, okay, seeking help from me, requesting for counseling or therapy sessions for children around the age of between 10 to 12. And after seeing this pattern, I realized that it could very likely be due to PSLE stress because typically primary school children will start preparing for PSLE. They low key prepare for PSLE in primary form and they start doing high key PSLE preparations when they enter primary five. And that's when their school curriculum becomes even more challenging. So I heard from parents that it can be a very huge jump, okay, from P4 to P5. So that is when school, and that's how school work demands and frustration, okay, can cause these kids a lot of stress. Relationship problems could be with their peers, with teachers in school, perhaps, okay, or with family members, with siblings as well, family problems at home, okay, when we have parents maybe who are experiencing marital problems, it can affect children as well. Health and physical change. For um, children aged between 10 onwards, okay, when they start undergoing puberty, right? So they may become very conscious about their own bodies. Okay, then they may also, because of puberty, there is a surge in their hormones. A lot of hormonal changes can lead to mood swings, and this can be a source of stress for them. Taking on too many activities or heavy commitment, children in Singapore, they are most children in Singapore are often very busy with school and academic demands, extra curricular activities in school or outside of school. They may also take on additional tuition or lessons outside of school as well. So having many activities and heavy commitment. For teenagers, besides school and academic demands, co-curricular activities, they may also, they need to make time, to socialize. So having too many activities and heavy commitment, can be a source of stress for these kids. Moving or changing schools, something I mentioned earlier. Um, Transition from primary six from primary school to secondary school, okay, or from secondary school to an institute of higher learning, okay. So adapting to new situations, okay. Death of a loved one, and of course the pandemic, which a lot of us are very familiar with. But now with the easing of a lot of safety measures, I think it has become better. I remember during those days, especially between 2020 to 2021, that is when I see a lot of cases that are being referred to me. So we have things like frequent changes in the safety measures that sometimes children and teens find it very difficult to adapt to, especially when it comes to socializing. Not being able to socialize at a close distance. They need to watch their distance, and then having to put on the mask for long periods of time. This can be especially stressful for those with special needs, okay, whereby they are very sensitive, they have very they have very intense sensorial needs, okay, so they may not like having the mask on their faces all the time. So yeah, so this can be why pandemic can be a source of stress. Okay. Internal stressors. So like I mentioned, internal stressors comes from our own personal mindsets. So internal stressors are the sources of stress that are inside us and are often actually the most common sources of stress amongst all of us. Okay. They are the thoughts and feelings that pop into our heads and cause us to feel uneasy. Okay. So personality traits such as having the need to always be perfect, engaging in mind traps such as inability to accept uncertainty, having unrealistic expectations, rigid thinking, and lack of flexibility. So sometimes our own, negative self-talk can be a source of stress for us with our pessimistic and negative thinking, such as telling ourselves, I'm useless, um, I'm such a loser, I'm a failure, or we may overanalyze when other people are being extra nice to us. So if we think negatively, we might then ask, why are they so nice to me? Okay, I do work with a lot of kids, especially teens, okay, whereby with social anxiety. So a simple thing such as going, for their break to the canteen can be a huge source of stress for them because they are very conscious of walking into the canteen, and they have this thought, this irrational belief that, okay, if I walk into the canteen, I have, 100 pairs of eyes looking at me, then they may be sizing me up. They may be thinking, why I'm looking so funny. So these are examples of negative thinking that can actually, become a huge source of stress. All right. And then sensing stress or anxiety of those around us, especially for children, they, when parents are anxious, okay, or stressed, it rubs off on them. Okay, they can actually, um, become stressed as well. So now let's take a look. How does stress affect us? Okay, how does it affect our physical body? How does it affect our thought processes? Okay, how we think? how does it affect our behaviors? Okay, behaviors refers to the words we say and the actions, that we take. And then how does it affect our emotions? How does it affect our moods? Now, these are an overview of the signs and symptoms of stress. Okay, I just want to point out that whenever we encounter a stressful situation, all of us, okay, all of us, when we undergo a stressful situation, okay, for our children as well. So when we have an exam to take, okay, or we have a project that we need to complete, or we are going for a job interview, or we might just lose our job, if let's say we have lost our jobs and then we're trying to find a new job, and these are examples of sources of stress, right? So whenever we are, when we are met with all these stressors, okay, it is normal for every one of us to experience these signs and symptoms. But what becomes not normal is that when we experience these signs and symptoms for a prolonged period of time, okay, so much so that it will affect our body, our physical body, and our mental health. Okay, it will affect our physical health and mental health. All right. When the source of stress goes away, okay, and when things become better, when there's relief or when there are periods of relaxation, then that's when our bodies, our nervous system will reset, our stress response system will then reset. Okay, so trouble sleeping. Okay, I would say it's the most common sign and symptom, most common physical sign and symptom of stress. Okay, we end up either sleeping too much or we may sleep too little. We find ourselves not being able to fall asleep. Our children may not be able to fall asleep so easily. Or if they sleep, they may wake up often throughout the night. Okay, they may experience fatigue, um, and then physical ailments such as headaches, fatigue, headaches, indigestion, and that is not surprising because of a lack of sleep. So lack of sleep or too much sleep, okay, too much of a good thing can also lead you to experiencing fatigue or even headaches. Okay, lack of sleep can also lead to headaches and indigestion. Okay, indigestion issues, and then heart palpitations. All right, nausea and dizziness. Weight gain or loss because either we may eat too much, we may overeat, or we may lose our appetite. So that explains the weight gain or loss. We may also see a deterioration of personal hygiene and appearances. Okay. Um, in terms of behavior, okay, there may be a lot of, their child may become a bit more fidgety, nail biting, restlessness, having the need to move around constantly. All right. Become hyperactive, social withdrawal, extremely, I would say this would be a very common behavior sign and symptom of stress. Loss of interest in hobbies or activities. All right, things that the children used to be. If you see your children lose their interest in things that they used to be interested in, okay, in the past, and then they suddenly, they used to be very, they used to enjoy, let's say, soccer a lot, and suddenly they said, no, I don't want to go soccer anymore. So this may be something that you might want to monitor. Meltdowns happens extremely frequently in children. So usually when parents come to me and telling me that, oh, my child has a lot of behavioral issues or behavioral challenges, a lot of meltdowns, anger outbursts. So usually behaviors, okay, are tells us, okay, that something is happening. Children usually have a lot of behavioral manifestation of the stresses or the issues that they are experiencing either in school or at home. Okay. In terms of moods, okay, we can see a lot of impatience, easily irritable or gets frustrated extremely easily. They appear, easily overwhelmed by things. For some, they may have a lot of tearfulness. You may see, even bouts of depressed mood, and they may even appear aloof to you. And that's not surprising because they socially withdraw themselves. Okay, so which is why they may appear aloof to others. In terms of thought processes, how stress affects how we think, there may be a lack of concentration, poor focus, okay, lapses in memory, difficulty in making decisions. They start having that negative perspective. So if you remember the internal stressors, right, whereby stress comes within yourself. So like things are never going to be okay again. I am never going to do well. Nobody likes me. Okay, so this is what negative perspective means. Okay, they may exercise poor judgment as well. Okay. Okay, so more signs and symptoms. So signs and symptoms that your children may be struggling emotionally. So I have actually summarized all of that. So these are the five main things that parents should look out for. Frequent emotional or anger outbursts, social withdrawal, I mentioned earlier. Okay, deterioration in functioning. So they may suddenly not do well, okay, in exams. So I'm talking about when there is a sudden change, okay, in their performance in school or in their attitudes towards schoolwork or homework. So let's say if you know that your child normally submits his or her work on time, or normally does participate in class activities, or goes for or attends CCA regularly, but stops doing that all of a sudden. So this is what I mean by deterioration in functioning. Okay, if you notice that, then this is a clue to you that your child may be struggling. Okay, significant sleep or appetite changes, something that I explained earlier. Okay, if you also notice low mood and low energy, usually low mood and low energy coincide with social withdrawal as well. Okay, so children who have frequent emotional or anger outbursts may also have low mood and low energy as well. Okay. So other warning signs, okay, these are actually red signs that you need to really, really pay attention to. When you notice that your child is depressed or excessively anxious, okay, and you know that your child has been through a stressful situation recently. So I had a case whereby parents came to look for me and told me that this pair of parents told me that their child needed to see someone because his close friend had actually recently took his life. So this is an example of going through a stressful situation, okay, or children with from families where parents are undergoing divorce or separation. So this is an example of stressful situation. Withdrawal from social groups. So again, this is social withdrawal. Okay, this is always the sign that you should look out for. Prior attempts to suicide, and this is if, let's say, your child happened to have a prior attempt to suicide. This will put them at a higher risk for subsequent attempts. Okay, so this is something definitely that you need to pay attention to. If your child has expressed intentions of self-harm, or your child saying things like, how I wish that, I don't wake up in my sleep. Okay, so this is what I would refer to as a passive wish to die. Even though it's passive and it's not active, we should still pay attention to them. All right. A detailed plan, what I mean by a detailed plan would be if your child has, has a plan of how he or she may want to end his or her life or take his or her life, then this example of warning sign. You should actually bring your child to see a professional or seek professional help. A lot of hopelessness, things are never going to be okay, nothing's going to help. I will always be like this, no one can help me. So these are examples of how hopelessness sound like. Access to little means. So what these mean will be, actually this applies a lot to um, people, for those living in countries whereby there are no gun laws. Okay, for example, in the US, okay, where they have actually very easy access to guns. Okay, so what does access to lethal means mean? So our children have access, okay, to ways whereby they may be able to end their lives easily. So I have worked with suicidal teens before, whereby I always ask parents, keep away all sharp objects. Okay, it is very tedious. Okay, because sometimes you may never know when I'll be leaving a sharp object around. But when you have a suicidal teen or suicidal child at home, you need to actually really remove all sharp objects so that to actually reduce access to lethal means. Okay, like keeping windows closed and locked. things like that, keeping window grills, okay, closed and locked, all right? And lastly, family members who have completed suicide. If there's a history of suicide in your family, this is also something that we need to pay attention to. Okay, so right now, after explaining about stresses and how this may impact our mental health, okay, um, what are the things that we can do to actually promote mental wellness and resilience? So, what does mental wellness mean? So, mental wellness and resilience actually um, um, are have very close relationships. So, um, we do a lot of things, okay, to promote good physical health and physical wellness, right? We will go for exercise. We eat healthily. We eat nutritious food. Some of us may give our children supplements. We always tell our children, you must eat healthy. You must eat your vegetables. Remember to take your vitamins. So we encourage our children, okay, to do all these things so that they are in their best physical health. We wear masks. We encourage our student to wear masks, our kids to wear masks, to mask on, okay, so that they may not get COVID or contract COVID so easily. We encourage our children to wash their hands regularly, sanitize their hands, so that these are the things that we do that promotes good physical health or physical wellness, okay, and it actually helps in our resilience, okay, it builds our physical resilience towards viruses, okay, around us. So similarly, there are things that we can do, okay, to promote mental wellness and to promote resilience, so that we are actually preparing, our children, um, for just in case in the future or in situations whereby, you know, definitely they will experience stressful situations, or sometimes they may experience crisis. Okay, so what we are doing essentially is to build our children's mental health and their resilience, so that they are able to bounce back from stressful situations or bounce back from adversity, or they are able, to ride through, okay, stressful situations well. So before I share on what may be some of the, positive coping strategies or healthy habits that may be useful for you and your children, so I just want to find out some of the things that you do, that promote mental wellness and resilience. Okay, I'd like to again invite all of you to share with me what are the things that you do that supports your mental health. Okay, self compassion. I see self compassion and self care. Um, this is the first time I'm seeing self-compassion. I do this. I actually conduct this sharing very very regularly, and this is the first time I'm seeing someone share that that he or she does self-compassion in order to promote mental wellness, and I think it is a great thing. I think more often than not, many of us we are very hard on ourselves. Okay, as adults, we're hard on ourselves. So because we model behaviors for our children, so some of our children actually they can be very hard on themselves as well. So it's important to teach our children, self-compassion, to be kind to themselves, and to be not so hard on themselves. So I think that is a really great idea. Yeah, I see self-care, learning how to self-soothe. I like journaling as well. So for those people with a very busy lifestyle, like myself. Okay, sometimes few days of the week or throughout the day, I like to just during my free time, or let's say when I'm in between destinations, on traveling on public transport or waiting for public transport, what I do is sometimes I like to just take out my mobile phone and I go to my notes and I start like typing down, what I'm probably thinking of feeling for that day, what's going through me. So that's one convenient way of journaling. Okay, it does not have to be like, it does not have to, it does not require you to actually, go buy a book and really sit down every night to write. But for some people, they actually set aside time for that. So that's good. But if you find that you do not have the time to commit, Then using a mobile phone, jotting down your thoughts of reflection, um, from as you move along throughout your day, okay, can be very convenient for you. Some people journal not through writing but through creating art. Okay, I've seen this TikTok channel whereby this lady, all her content was actually is all actually on doing craft work. So what she does is she calls it creative journaling. So each and every of her video shows her tearing nice. She has a collection of paper, stickers, and all sorts of craft materials, and she will put them together onto a book. Okay, and she calls this creative journaling, and I thought that that was a pretty nice idea, very good for a very good recreational activity for mental wellness. Okay, some people may journal just by drawing. Music, yes, a lot of people listen to music or even create music, all right, for you know, mental mental wellness, going for walks, planning a vacation. Yes, now that things are opening up, okay, we can all go for a vacation. Yeah, remembering to take breaks. Okay, we live in a very fast-paced environment. We live in a very fast-paced society, so sometimes we may forget to take breaks. So it's really important to just really um, tell ourselves to just take a break from whatever we're doing and to just sit back and to just really soak in the moment. So this is a little bit like mindfulness, which I'm going to talk about later on as part of the relaxation technique. Getting enough sleep, yes, I think this is also something that I'll be sharing later. Remove source of extreme stress. Yes, so we try to take ourselves out of a very stressful situation. Attending psychotherapy sessions, indeed. So for those of you who are actually open and receptive to attending therapy sessions, sometimes we gain new perspectives, and we also learn new coping skills as we attend these sessions. Social support, very important. All right. So if let's say, as parents, if there is, if you, as parents, we are very busy, right? We parents can be very, very busy people, having to juggle multiple roles, doing parenting, caregiving, and also caregiving for elderly parents, and having to go to work, and so on. So sometimes, if you find that some of the things that you share, you may not have the time to do everything. That's okay. If there's only one thing you can do, then usually the number one thing that I would recommend all parents to do is to focus on bonding and building a relationship with your children, because relationships is key when it comes to recovery or healing and recovery for a mental health condition, or let's say you've been through mental distress recently. So relationship is really key in helping us to heal and recover. All right. Okay, thank you so much for your contribution. Okay, so I'm going to just move on. So now, before I talk about what are the healthy and positive ways to cope with stress and to promote mental wellness and resilience, let's what are so these are some of the unhealthy ways. Okay, so things like smoking, turning to alcohol, especially so for teenage children. So these are the things that they may turn to in order, because they have the misconception that by smoking or by turning to alcohol, it can help them to relieve stress. Okay, I think they, in a way, they are not wrong to say that. But I always tell them drinking at that moment helps you to feel relaxed, but it is unhealthy in the long term. Okay, it's not desirable to do that. Even for smoking, it may take that stress off only for that few minutes, okay? But however, because these two habits can have extremely um, negative impact on the physical health. So that's why, okay, it's strongly discouraged. Anger outbursts. So sometimes when we are so stressed or we are under mental distress, we may actually have all these frequent emotional anger outbursts that will end up impacting our relationships with other people, right? And then also turning to junk food. So, as I've shared earlier, one of the signs and symptoms of stress is either we lose our appetite and we eat less, or some of us, some of our children may eat more. Okay, I do have a lot of kids that I see when they are stressed, they like to turn to their comfort food or comfort drink, and the most popular comfort drink is actually bubble tea. And as we all know, bubble tea is full of sugar, and taking too much bubble tea actually, does more harm than good. Okay, because in the long term, it's going to impact our physical health. And when our physical health actually gets, when as you know, when our physical health gets affected, all right, our mental health will be affected as well. And excessive screen time, very common amongst children that I see. So they tell me, I'm so stressed, I need to turn to using, um, you know, uh, I, uh, I need to game, or I need to be on my phone to distress myself, right? I think good and bad. So it depends. If, let's say, um, the things that the kids do on their mobile devices is nicely curated, it's okay. But some of them may become overly obsessed, okay, especially on social media, because they feel like, okay, and especially teens, or children with low self-esteem. So they start to look to social media in order to build their confidence and self-esteem. So it's no longer about the number of friends that they have, but also the number of followers. So, and also the comments that they go for, the number of likes. So and this is not within their area of control. So when they do not actually get the number of likes that they want, or get the number of follows that they want, okay, it becomes actually even, so it will go the other way. So they become even more stressed. So I'm going to share on what are some of the positive and healthy habits and activities that parents and children can engage in order to promote wellness and resilience. And these are all centered around the concept of self-care. One of you has shared, self-care as one of the things that you do to promote mental wellness. So it's important to, first of all, have the mindset and have that commitment, okay, to want to care for yourself, right? So when we have that commitment, then we will be then committed, okay, to actually take the time, all right, to do all these activities, and incorporate these habits into our lives, okay, in order to, build resilience in our children. Okay, so such as engaging activities that the children enjoy, creating opportunity for them to engage in activities that they enjoy, teaching them how to practice relaxation techniques, encouraging them in participating in physical exercises, encourage them to talk to someone that they trust, okay, encourage them to open up, to share, all right, and also teaching them, how to prioritize tasks accordingly, because a lot of our kids nowadays have their plates are very full. So it's important as parents that we teach them how to prioritize their tasks so that they will feel less overwhelmed. So as mentioned, physical exercises, 20 to 30 minutes of cardiovascular exercises 3 to 5 times a week. Sometimes you may find it's very difficult to hit that target, but don't worry about that if you're not able to hit that target for your children. So ensuring that, just, even 1 to 2 times a week, sometimes it does not have to be 20 to 30 minutes, it can be 10 minutes. They can do some sort of a HIIT exercise at home, or they can just go out for a quick walk, okay? Because engaging in heart pumping exercises will cause your body to release this hormone called endorphins. And these particular hormones actually helps us to feel good and improves our mood, right? So when we exercise, not only is it beneficial for our physical body, but it's also very beneficial for our mental health as well. Yeah, so ensure that your children eat well, okay? Because eating well ensures better health and a sense of well-being. So do encourage your children to have a balanced diet with a good intake of fruits, vegetables, dairy, and protein food. It's okay if they reach out for that occasional bubble tea or junk food. Usually when they are very stressed, so children do turn to food like chips. They will reach out for chips, burgers, pizzas. It's good to have them once in a while as a treat, but do encourage them to to eat healthy snacks such as nuts, fruits, and so on. Maybe for teenagers it's a bit difficult to change their mindset, but for parents with young children, okay, it's good to build that habit, okay, and do model that behavior as well. You can eat healthily together so as to promote a habit of healthy eating. Yeah, so someone also mentioned earlier that having enough sleep, right? Yeah, will promote mental wellness and resilience because when you do not have enough sleep, it actually increases your stress level. Okay, I don't know how many of you have experienced that before. I remember as a secondary school student, there was once that I actually studied late into the night for a paper the next day, but it ended me being actually feeling quite jittery the next day for my exams. I felt like I wasn't focused. I felt like I was not calm. And needless to say, I didn't do well in the paper because, first of all, not enough sleep. My brain got foggy. I got very jittery, so my stress level went up. I lost my concentration and focus. I didn't do well in the paper. So having enough sleep, especially for children, is really, really important. And having enough sleep remains a challenge amongst parents who are parenting teenagers because sometimes teenagers, before they sleep, they tend to spend some time on their mobile devices, okay, on the bed, okay, just before they sleep. So 10 minutes becomes 30 minutes, 30 minutes becomes an hour becomes 2 hours, and sometimes they may end up sleeping at 1 or 2 a.m. Because they're on their mobile devices. So it's common. Okay, I do see teenagers sleeping late in the night. Um, there are also a lot of newspaper article written about how much sleep our local teens are getting. So I think it is a constant challenge for parents to tell their teens to get enough sleep. I have met many parents who tell me that it's so difficult. They end up nagging at their teenagers all the time to sleep. So I think I would say that again, this is a habit that should start from young, especially when they get their first first mobile phones or mobile devices. Some parents they have chosen to set certain ground rules, such as I don't know, before they give them, they get their children to agree that before you sleep, do leave your mobile devices outside of the room. Okay, so as to ensure that there is minimal distraction. Okay, and they can just focus on sleeping. Spending time on activities that you enjoy. So, encouraging your child to spend their time on activities that they enjoy is really important because it improves their mental health and well-being. So, for primary school going children, a lot of them either participate in sports, art, or they read, or some of them like to do coding. I do have um, upper primary school children when they start um, creating content for their social media. Okay, even creating content for their social media like TikTok, Instagram, or even YouTube. I have some upper primary kids. They tell me they do YouTube videos. These are I think in recent times because we're so digitally connected. A lot of them are actually very digital savvy. Okay, so these are examples of activities that kids nowadays enjoy, and for older kids, teenagers, um, you know, playing soccer, basketball, um, or going to the gym. Okay, so these are things that are pastimes. They should engage themselves with. So having, let's say, a hobby or interest, especially if the recreation or the activity is community based. Okay, such as playing with a local group of musicians. Okay, I have some teens who actually likes to create music. So when people get together, so which is why I have emphasized earlier that if there's as parents, if there's only one thing that you can do is actually is to build relationship. So building relationships at home takes care of things at home. So and when they go out, it helps them to feel more confident about interacting with people, socializing with people, building relationship. So it's preferable if, let's say, the activity that they are engaged in, the recreational activity engaged in is community based and with people. Okay, so teaching our kids to prioritize their tasks accordingly helps them with their time management so that they will feel less overwhelmed. When they're less overwhelmed, stress levels are lower. It helps them to have a sense of control. Using a planner of a daily schedule, I believe primary school and secondary school kids, they do receive, the student handbook from their school. So inside the student handbook, there's a planner. I know that a lot of kids out there, they actually do not they find it a chore to actually write down, what are the things that they need to do, making to-do lists or setting priorities for the things. Um, so this has to, again, habits have to start young. Okay, encourage them. Okay, have a planner, have something, a visual schedule at home. Um, you can put it on their wall, or sometimes for teens, maybe I know that there are a lot of mobile apps available that actually can help them organize, themselves. So having mobile apps may be more appealing for teens to help them to prioritize their tasks, or to use a planner for the daily schedule. I do have, especially for the boys, okay, they prefer mobile apps. I do have girls, teenage girls who see me. Some of them still like the old school way of using a physical planner. So what they do is they don't use the school's planner, but they actually, buy really nice planner. Then they decorate, they draw on their planner, and this actually encourages them. So this is a way of creative journaling. Okay, they draw and then they write, and then at the same time, so this encourages them, okay, to use the planner for their daily schedule and setting priorities. Okay, these are some of the relaxation techniques that parents, okay, can try with their children at home. So relaxation techniques should preferably be overlearned so that it can be done automatically without having to think about each step. Okay, similar to that same unconscious coordination with which we walk, drive a car, or ride a bicycle, so that, okay, your children can do all these relaxation activities with smooth precision. So what this means is that um, your children should, as far as possible, practice any one of these relaxation techniques, on a daily basis. Okay, and the best time, I always tell parents, the best time to do it is before they sleep, when they lie down at bed. Okay, so first one, breathing exercises. This one very easy to do. Okay, now I always get children and teens, kids asking me, why do I need to learn breathing? Why do I need to do breathing exercises? I breathe all the time, right? If I don't breathe, I won't be breathing. So I will tell them, that we breathe day to day, or second from seconds. Every second we are breathing. That is the different type of breathing that's different from the breathing exercises. So breathing exercises are actually a sort of breathing tech. It requires a type of technique whereby we do slow breathing. We take in deep breaths, and we visualize ourselves pushing the breath all the way down to our stomach. Okay, and then we hold that breath, and then after that, we slowly exhale the breath through our mouth. Okay, for younger children, okay, if parents, for parents here with younger children, if you want to teach them how to breathe, one way would be ask them to visualize, a hot soup in front of them. Okay, so I always tell children, okay, visualize a bowl of hot soup in front of you. If those who cannot visualize, then it may be helpful to show them a picture of a hot soup. Okay, I said the soup is very hot right now. So before you want to, taste or drink the soup, what do you need to do? Okay, they will say, okay, you need to blow the soup, right, to cool it down. So before you blow the soup, you need to first take a deep breath slowly, and then hold. Then after that, you slowly exhale, blow out the breath, okay, and blow at the soup slowly to try to cool it down. Okay, so this is one way that, I teach children to, how to do breathing. For this method can also be used with teenagers as well, because when I teach teens how to breathe, this is the way, because they'll say, hey, how to breathe, then they always breathe wrongly, so they end up hyper ventilating. So I also use this soup technique to teach them how to breathe, so parents can maybe check this out. Alternatively, okay, they can actually put okay, you can actually put a hand in front of you. Okay, not sure anyone, you can see a hand in front of you, right? So you can get them to do this. Okay, so breathe in as you move, you breathe in. Hold as you go down, you breathe out slowly. Breathe in again. Breathe out. Hold, and then breathe out. Okay, so keep on going. Okay, until you go back to your thumb again. Okay, so this is the hand breathing. All right, so this is another way. Now, mindfulness. Okay, I believe most of you would have heard of mindfulness. It is a technique, okay, an approach that has been up and coming, very popular these days in Singapore in helping to, as a form of relaxation. So mindfulness means maintaining, a moment by moment awareness of our thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations, and surrounding environment. Okay. So one very simple mindfulness exercise I always do with children, okay, parents can try this out, is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding exercise. Okay, let me just type it in the chat, in the Zoom chat. It's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, okay, grounding exercise. All right. So if you actually do a search on the internet, okay, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 grounding is a exercise, is a form of mindfulness. It's a very simple way, okay, to begin learning how to practice mindfulness. All right. So 5 means identifying. Okay, first we need to actually take a break. Okay, that means take a break, like one of you had mentioned earlier, learning how to take breaks. So just really set aside time, sit down at a comfortable place. Okay, then we start paying attention to our surroundings. So 5 refers to 5 things that we can see. So we need to identify 5 things we can see. After that, we proceed on to identify 4 things that we can feel. All right. Then 3 things that we can hear, 2 things we can smell, and 1 thing we can taste. All right. Try to do this slowly. Take your time. Don't be in a hurry. Don't rush your child to identify 5 things. So for example, if I were to do this simple exercise right now, okay, um, 5 things, okay, I can see would be, the slides in front of me. I can see my laptop. I can see the tissue box, the box of tissue in front of me. I can see my water bottle, okay, in front of me. All right, how many things already? So there's my slides, my laptop, tissue box, my water bottle, one more thing. Okay, I can see also my lamp on my desk. All right, so 4 things. All right, I can feel, okay, would be I can feel the texture of the clothing that I'm wearing right now. Okay, I can feel the texture of the skin on my arm. Okay, that's 2. All right. Then I can feel the texture on my hair. Okay, that's 3. All right. And then I can feel the coolness, okay, of the steel, okay, of the steel of my laptop. Okay, because the aircon in my room is turned on right now. So my laptop is made of steel. So as I touch the steel, it feels cold to the touch. All right, 3 things I can hear. I can hear my voice. Okay, I can hear the sound of the aircon blowing. Okay, and then I can also hear, because the ceiling fan in my room is turned on, so I can hear the whirring sound of my ceiling fan. Okay, 2 things I can smell. I can smell my breath as I'm talking to you. I can also smell, the smell that's coming out from the air conditioner in my room. And then 1 thing I can taste. Okay. So usually, I have children and teens will tell I can't taste anything. So I will encourage them, okay, have a sip of the water, or have if you have a sweet with you. Okay. So if you have a sweet with you, I think put the sweet in your mouth, okay, or drink the sip of water, or have that if you have the packet of drink or can of drink, okay, take a sip, or take a sip of the drink, or you can tell them to, taste the sweet. What do you taste? I taste sweetness. Um, I taste the blandness of the water, or I taste the citrusy taste of the orange juice I'm taking. So this is an example of how 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 works. So it's really, paying mindful attention, okay, to what I'm seeing around us. Okay, so this has especially for children who are prone to having who are prone to panics or panic attacks, or they get anxious. So this is one way to help them to one way to help calm them down. All right. And then guided imagery, okay, is in guided imagery, we intentionally think of a peaceful place or scenario. So the goal is to promote a calm state through relaxation and mindfulness. So guided imagery is also about mindfulness because it involves you really closing your eyes. So let's say when we think about a stressful situation, we feel very jittery, we feel nervous. So we become very tense, okay, and then our heart rate will increase. Then we may become very jittery and unfocused. So when you actually close your eyes, when you teach your children to close your eyes and then focus their attention on pleasant scenarios. So encourage your child, okay, I want you to close your eyes, think of something that is very pleasant for you. So it can be anything that they feel is pleasant to them. Then that's when they do that, their minds and bodies will tend to relax. Okay, then we will feel less, then they will feel probably less tightness and tension in their muscles, whilst their minds might feel calmer and more at ease. Okay, so by having a calm mind and body, then they are better able to cope with mental, emotional, and physical stress. Progressive muscle relaxation refers to really tensing and relaxing our muscles and doing this on and off. So we tense our muscles, relax, tense and relax. So one activity I do with children and teens would be that called the noodle dance. So how that works is I will ask them, I will ask them, okay, how does an uncooked spaghetti look like? Then they will tell me, oh, it's hard and it's stiff. Okay, so I'll tell them, okay, so how I want you to pretend that you are uncooked spaghetti. So it requires them to tense their muscles, their whole body, right? Okay, so I'll ask them, how does a cooked spaghetti look like? And they will say, oh, it's soft, and then it's like wriggly. So I'd say, okay, then you relax your muscle and then and to pretend that you're a cooked spaghetti. So then that's when they learn actually how to, tense and then relax their muscle. So progressive means really going from top to bottom. So start with our head. Okay, we will tense our jaw muscle, our jaw muscle, followed by our neck. Okay, then our shoulders, tense and then relax, tense, relax to our arms, tense, our arm muscles, relax, tense and relax our forearms, our hands, our fingers, okay, tense and then relax. And then now go down to our core muscles, okay, our stomach, all right. Sorry, the chest first, followed by the stomach, then our pelvic area, the thighs, our then and then our lower legs, and then followed by our feet and then the toes. So this is called progressive muscle relaxation. So we tense and relax. So by doing this regularly, okay, over time, it really has an effect, on the physical body. So our bodies will then be able to learn how to relax ourselves in stressful situation. But of course, like I mentioned earlier, relaxation techniques again should preferably be overlearned. So encourage your child to do any one of this so they can choose which one they like to do. All right. And last but not least, meditation. So I'm sure all of you, most of you know what meditation is, but I always tell, I think not everyone can do meditation. So one simple way to start doing it, or to do a very simple meditation would be, I always tell, my kids, or tell parents, okay, lit a candle. Okay, lit a candle. So you'll be good if, let's say, it's one of those nice, scented candle, right? So as the flame is burning, okay, put all your focus, just focus and look at that burning flame. Okay, just don't think of anything and just look at the flame of the burning candle. So this is one way whereby you can try to do meditation and discover how meditation is. Okay, a very simple exercise for meditation doesn't require your child to really go to a full on meditation, because learning how to do meditation is something that um, or the layman, like people like us. Okay, I am not trained. I have not taken classes in meditation, but for myself personally, I have done it before, like as a starter. Just lit a candle and then just really spend 5 minutes, focusing on the flame that's burning on the candle. Now, expressing thoughts, experiences, and emotions. Okay, when we actually put words, when we help our children put words, okay, onto their experience, okay, to describe their experience, this is the first step, okay, to teaching them and helping them learn how to regulate their emotions. Okay, so first of all, we need to actually, how can parents help their children to express their thoughts, experiences, and emotions. Okay, So first of all, very importantly, okay, parents need to provide safe space for expression. What does a safe space mean? Okay, a safe space would mean by being non-judgmental. Okay, uh, really getting them to express themselves. Okay, maybe let me just quote an example. So let's say if a child tells you that your child gets upset. Okay, and then you notice that your child is very moody, so you ask him, what happened? And then he said that, oh, I'm supposed to go out with Jaden today, but he actually played me out at the last minute. Okay, so what would be, as a parent, what would be your response next? Now, I think for a lot of parents, many of us, actually even me included, okay, I'm a parent myself as well. So sometimes we may be very quick to respond, and then we may say things like, "Hey, it's okay lah. Your Jaden doesn't want to go anyway. Exams are coming. You should not be going out too often." So usually this will be the response that we give to our children. We do not have bad intentions. We have good intentions for them because exams are coming, right? They should be studying. But when we provide safe space, okay, for expression of their emotions, we do not actually we do not respond this way. We listen and we accept that and we validate their emotion. So, what do we do? Okay. So, instead of responding that way that I said earlier, what we can do is validate their emotion. When we validate their emotion, it helps them feel that parents are able to understand them. Okay. So, we share our observation. Oh, no wonder. Okay, you look moody just now. You must be very disappointed that Jaden actually played you out at the last minute, right? Yeah, so this is one way whereby we can provide safe space by validating, okay, their experience and their emotion, and then we share with them, what we saw, right? And then we name and what I just did was I named and identified the emotion, which is disappointed. Okay, so there are many ways to help kids to express their emotion. This exercise, okay, talking about emotions, expressing thoughts, experiences, and emotions can be difficult, okay, in our families in Singapore because of its culture, is due to our Asian culture. Um, a lot of us are brought up, okay, in a family environment whereby we do not get the we hardly talk about emotions. I personally, for myself, grew up in an environment whereby my parents do not talk about emotions, okay, and they tend to respond the way I responded, okay, like the example that I gave earlier. So there have also been, I'm not sure whether any of you have seen it before. They were also viral videos on TikTok whereby those content created whereby, the viral videos of, the typical Asian parent, how is it like? So that's the way it is. So it may be very difficult especially for parents here who are not used to expressing or talking about emotions at home. Okay, I would say don't give yourself too much stress. Start small. Okay, so focus on the bonding and the relationship building. Okay, so coming back to this, expressing emotion. Okay, you can encourage and support your child by, because some of our children are not very good with talking. They're not very good with verbal expression. Not many of the children will tell you, "I feel so angry. I feel so disappointed. I feel so frustrated. I am so upset." Okay, so you can encourage them by telling them, say, "Hey, so what you are feeling right now?" You can have conversations with them. So by sharing your observation, identifying the emotion, it helps them to realize, hey, actually, I can express my emotion. So through talking, for families who are comfortable or parents who are comfortable with that, so you may do that. But for some children, they may find it very hard to put it in verbal expression or in words. So you can encourage them to write. So that's when journaling comes in, right? Or if they don't want to write, they can draw. Okay, that comes in a form of creative journaling. For children and teenagers who are into music, or those who they can actually express by playing music. Okay, can helps them feel better, or they can even create music. All right. Um, all emotions can be expressed by physical activity. Go for a run, play a sport. All right. Um, I have a teen. Okay. Who she will, every time she feels she plays squash regularly. I think squash nowadays very hard to it's a sport that's hard to find these days. Squash courts are actually reducing number, but I have this teen who plays squash. So whenever she plays it regularly. At the same time, she also plays squash whenever she feels moody or she feels upset. So she plays squash, and after that, she tells me that she feels better because again, physical activity releases any heart pumping exercise releases endorphins, which helps you to feel good, right? Or crying is a way of emotion expression as well. So I mean, in Singapore, we always tell our children, "Hey, stop crying, don't cry already," you know. But actually, sometimes we need to be mindful of what we say to our children. So when they cry, okay, what we can do, we can respond is give them a hug, or for younger children, we can just like, hug them, or just be with them. For older teens, you can just sit next to them as they cry, offering them a tissue. All right. So the question mark here is to, represent that, there are many, many other ways of expression. Okay. It really depends. This is not exhaustive. So it really depends on, different people have different ways of expressing their emotions. Okay, this is I think parents here who have primary school students, this may look familiar to you. So in primary school, in primary school, students have this FTGP journal, which is called Form Teacher Guidance Period. FTGP stands for Form Teacher Guidance Period Journal. So in there, they actually have this chart here. Okay, this is the feeling meter. I am feeling, so that's happy. I think if you turn this circle around, then it shows different types of expression: happy, anger, sad. So you can get your children. So they are actually readily available resources that you can find at home. So when you want to spend time talk about emotions with your children, you ask how you're feeling today, so they can turn the wheel. Okay, if they're happy, okay, how intense is that happiness? Are you like super happy at a level 10? So they can actually rate, their feelings. So this FTGP journal has actually even very good resources. This belonged to my child. Usually when they promote to the next level, okay, I usually keep all these journal because I find them very useful. And then sometimes I will take them out and I go through with them. FTGP journal includes a lot of exercises on developing children's social and emotional competence. Okay, teaching them skills to learn how to manage their social relationships with their peers and with people around them. It also teaches them ways on how to manage or regulate their emotions. So very good, readily available resources we have here. For older children, for teens, sometimes it can be a bit challenging because they may not want to talk to parents. Okay, I always tell parents, look out for signs whereby you think that they may be receptive to talking to you. Because sometimes when teens they are in a good mood, they can talk about anything. But sometimes when they get a bit moody, and that's probably a sign that they may need their own personal space. So maybe parents can back off. But do remember, signs that our children are struggling emotionally. If let's say your teenager constantly shuts himself off, then this is something that you may need to pay attention to, because this becomes not exactly a normal behavior already. Okay. So do remember, when you want to facilitate expression of thoughts, experiences, emotions, practice active listening, be open, be non-judgmental. So what is active listening? So active listening is listening with an intent to understand rather than having an intent to respond. Because many a times whereby when we are talking to, when anyone is talking to us, or when anybody is talking to us about their problems or challenges or issues, we are always very enthusiastic or eager to provide solutions. We all have good intentions, but sometimes what we really need is somebody who is willing to listen to us. So sometimes what our child needs, especially for teens, they they may sometimes they don't need the solutions. And also as teenagers, sometimes as parents, we are very quick to jump to solutions for them. But because they're already at an age, it's important to let them find their way around. Okay, of course within proper boundaries that you have set for them. All right. So that's active listening, being non-judgmental. We do not judge them. Like earlier on, the example I've given, we don't respond and telling that, yeah, it's exam period. So we are, in a way, when we respond this way, we are judging our children that, yeah, instead of studying for exams, you are going out with your friends. Okay. Avoid all or nothing thinking and accepting that there is sometimes a gray area. So sometimes things may not be so straightforward, especially with teens. Okay, it's not. Sometimes we may think in terms of black and white, but unfortunately, sometimes there are times whereby there are gray areas, or there are actually situations whereby there's not easily solved. Okay, very helpful to practice flexibility, especially for teens. At the same time, we need to actually set limits for them. Okay, um, so when we want to provide flexibility, that does not mean that we, do not set boundaries. We let our we let our children do whatever they want. We still need to provide appropriate choices and set limits for them. Ensure that, you show them that you empathize, you provide empathy and accept them for who they are. Now, what if they don't want to talk about it? So they may be a situation sometimes they don't wish to talk, right? Like, especially when they are going through a very stressful situation, or you know that something is bothering them, and you want to, talk to them. What if, they don't want to talk? So just let them know that you care for them. Still let them know you care for them. Will be there for them. It can be very hard for parents because we will feel that sense of rejection when our children don't want to talk to us, or we try to help, we want to help, but they decline our help. It can be very bad, but still let them know that you care for them and will be there for them. Offer concrete support. So for example, by offering to buy them food, offering to buy them their favorite snack, or even that bubble tea, offer your company. Let me know if you need me. You can just tell them that, okay, let me know if you need me. Okay, if let's say they exhibit any of the signs that I shared with all of you earlier, seek help. Okay, seek assistance by referring them to resources, including helplines to professional support and services. Okay, I will share with you what are some of the helplines you can turn to later on, in another one more slide. Okay, talk to someone you trust. So encourage your children to identify who are the people that they trust in their social support circle. So it can be a family member, a relative, that particular uncle or auntie that they're close with, a cousin, a mentor in school, a teacher, or the school counselor for that matter. Sick. Okay, so if you feel like there is a deeper issue, and then they have been exhibiting some of those signs for long periods of time, and then it's really affecting their functioning, okay, their school, and then their relationships and so on, do seek professional help, okay, by approaching a counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist, or even a peer supporter. So a peer supporter is someone who is trained to provide knowledge, experience, emotional, social, and also practical help to anyone who is experiencing any mental health issues or concerns. Okay, this is especially helpful for people who may still feel the stigma of seeking help. So they can start off by talking to a peer supporter first. So over a period of time, the peer supporter can then help to encourage them to eventually seek help, okay, from a professional. Okay, so this is some of the resources. So parents here, okay, you may actually take a picture of this slide. Okay, these are some of the resources that are very, very helpful. Okay, so yeah, so what I'm going to do is okay, so this MySG, what I'm going to do is, let me just share, I'll show you this MySG website, which I find um, will be very helpful for parents here. So you go to healthhub.sg, right? Then you click on mental well-being over here. All right. Then over here, they talk about mental well-being, caring for ourselves. Okay, so you see, caring for ourselves, they have a lot of subtopics like sleeping well, coping with stress, managing our emotions, understanding depression, so on and so forth. Even learning about cyber wellness. So you can then select the age group that you are looking for information on, like for teens, or for youth or young adults or seniors. So pretty comprehensive. Okay. Then the other one that I want to share with parents here is um, the chat. Okay, so chat is an initiative by MH, okay, to provide community-based mental health support. Okay, you will remember in the past, right, when we want to seek help, it's always about going to IMH. Okay, but it's not really the it's not really the case these days. Okay, now things have gotten a lot better, help is very accessible. So you can go to this website, chat, then you can click here, I am okay, let's say I'm a parent or caregiver, young person who wants to refer my child to chat services. And over here, you go to FAQ, then you scroll all the way down. Here, you can actually make an appointment if your child is willing. Or if not, you can just let him or her know that, there's such. Okay, so this is us. Okay, chat is a service for um young person 16 and 30 years old, between 16 and 30 years old. Okay, so there's a chat referral form. Okay, so your child can self-refer, or if you can actually refer yourself. Okay, refer your child yourself on your own. So you don't need to actually go to IMH or go see a doctor. So help is actually very, very accessible these days. All right, so this was what I wanted to share. Let me go back to the slide quickly. Okay, signs of burnout. All right, so parents should actually be aware of the signs of burnout. They are pretty much similar to the signs and symptoms of stress that you saw early on. If you notice sleep problems, changes in your appetite, feeling exhausted, having low energy, waking up, especially not wanting to do the day. So some parents may tell me, oh, I become very sluggish. I don't feel like doing anything. All right. So feeling emotional. So this may lead to, oh, someone can't see the share screen. Just a minute. Let me just try again. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Can everybody see now? Let's go to the next slide quickly. Yeah, I hope everyone can see now. Huh? Okay. So some, okay, great. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. I apologize for the technical glitch. Okay. So if you experience some of these signs of burnout, okay, this is how it can impact your mental health. So brain fog, you may find that you're not able to think very clearly. Then your tolerance level will drop. Okay, every small little thing will spark you off. You may become very snappy with your children. Okay, any small things they do may just set you off. Okay, or even whatever any small thing your partner or spouse does will set you off. Okay, it may lead to confusion and also increase stress levels, feelings of isolation, because when stress level pounds up, when demands of parenting and caregiving, or having to work and all that get to you, you may feel like I'm doing this all. I feel very alone. I feel like I'm alone doing this all by myself. Okay, then this may also affect your relationship, with your spouse. Okay, um, it's really hard these days to parent. I feel because children. I always have parents telling me children are becoming more challenging. Okay, because of all that awareness of mental health, they parents want to do more. They want to be able to build mental wellness and resilience in their children. So sometimes they need to be mindful of their own responses to their children. It can be hard. So I think it's important to actually also helping your children to bond with your children, having that relationship with them is important, but you must also do the same thing for yourself as well. Okay? So do take time to take care of yourself. Remember self-compassion and self-care. Check in and reflect on your feelings. Notice what are your triggers, what sets you off. Okay, be compassionate to yourself. Someone mentioned self-compassion earlier. Practice self-care. So those same things, the strategies that I mentioned, you can also apply it for yourself. Okay. Do remember to take breaks. So all that you have shared earlier are all here as well. Okay. So remember, be gentle with yourself. Okay. This would be my ending message to all of you. Okay, great. I'm wondering if any of you here, I've come to an end to my sharing. I'm wondering if any of you here would have any questions, or if